Today we are looking at the marble sarcophagus with garlands and the myth of Theseus and Ariadne. It dates back to the 130 to 150 AD during the Hadrianic or early Antonine period. It is a Roman stone sculpture and is made of marble, luni, and pentelic. Its creator, however, is unknown. The dimensions are 31 by 85.75 by 28 inches. The first reaction when we saw the sarcophagus was growing curiosity and interest. We realized that the sarcophagus was based on the myth of Theseus and Ariadne. Thus, we took a great interest in this sarcophagus's portrayal of Theseus and Ariadne, as all of us recalled the fascinating class discussion on this particular myth. Besides our initial intrigue, another reason why we chose this piece was the intricate design. Every scene was carved beautifully, with attention given to small details on the face and body parts of the characters, especially in Theseus's slaying of the Minotaur. Researching this myth was interesting, as we were able to find the symbolism behind each figure in the carving and recall the myth of Theseus and Ariadne. This sarcophagus can be found today in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The Minotaur was the son of the Queen of Crete. Zeus had sent down a bull whom the queen slept with, thus giving birth to the Minotaur. The Minotaur was half man and half bull. The king of Crete, Minos, was so embarrassed by it that he hid the Minotaur in a labyrinth. The labyrinth was a maze so complex that no one had ever gotten out alive. Minos would send his enemies to the labyrinth to be eaten by the Minotaur. One day, Minos' son, Androgeus, went to Athens to participate in the Pan-Athenaic Games, but was killed by the bull that had impregnated the queen of Crete. Furious, Minos demanded a sacrifice of 7 men and women from Athens each year to be fed to the Minotaur as punishment for Androgeus' death. In the 3rd year, Theseus, a prince of Athens, decided he would be one of the 7 men to be sacrificed. He was going to kill the Minotaur. He sailed to Crete and met Ariadne, the daughter of Minos, who fell in love with him. Ariadne knew that once he went into the labyrinth, he would never be able to find his way back out, so she helped him. As shown in this part of the sarcophagus, Ariadne gave Theseus a ball of yarn, allowing him to leave a trail behind him as he goes through the labyrinth. Within the labyrinth, he meets the Minotaur and manages to kill the beast. Using the yarn he left behind, he was able to find his way out of the labyrinth. Theseus and Ariadne left Crete together, but Theseus abandoned her on the island of Naxos, taking off while she was sleeping. However, Ariadne met Dionysus, the god of wine, who fell in love with her and made her his wife. Theseus returns back to Athens, but forgot to change his sails from black to white, causing his father, King Aegeus, to believe his son had died. Thus, he jumped off a cliff to his death, in a sea now named after him, also known as the Aegean Sea. Karma! This sarcophagus is a true work of art. The lines are smooth instead of jagged and rough. It depicts the bravery of Theseus when he took on the task of slaying the Minotaur. Although there were only a few scenes that were present on the sarcophagus, there is much that is implied. When looking at the work, you get the sense of Ariadne's love for Theseus. Ariadne only gave Theseus the ball of string because she loved him and wanted to help him. In addition to the general facts of the myth, the sarcophagus shows other intricate details as well. For example, on the lid, it shows winged erots driving chariots drawn by 4 different animals associated with the 4 seasons: bear for spring, lion for summer, bull for fall, and boar for winter. The deeper meaning behind the 4 seasons signify the trials of the soul after death and the pleasures in the afterlife. What caught our eyes is that the sarcophagus is very symmetrical, and you can tell that there was a very thought-out process behind its creation. The transitions correspond as you go from left to right, as does the story and the seasons. All 4 seasons are depicted, and there are 4 erots with seasonal garlands on the front. All 3 scenes of the myth are evenly spaced out, and the composition of the work of art is incredibly well done. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. You all are great, or as they would say in Latin, estis magni. Gratias vobis agimus. Vos amamus. Valete. Bonum diem habetis.